Good morning, driving warriors and those who wish they were. Alexa, what is the date?
It's Wednesday, June 1st.
June 1st. And Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 6:17 a.m.
6:17 a.m. Great. Alexa, what's the weather like?
In Pahrump, it's 63 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast calls for more of the same, with a high of 89 degrees and a low of 63 degrees.
Great. Okay. Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. It is June 1st. What does that mean? Well, a lot of things. That means at the end of this month, the year will be halfway over. It means the days are still getting longer and warmer. It means that your prepaying program fees and getting the discount is over. Cool. Please just do what you're supposed to do. Act with integrity whenever possible and whenever it is prudent. I think Socrates said, maybe it was Aristotle, lying is never honorable. But sometimes when the truth entails great ruin, speaking dishonorably is okay. So try to do your best. If you have problems, talk to us about your problems so we can help you. Please do not avoid us. Next topic. Okay, here we are. New student yesterday, Giovanni. I want to acknowledge the people who welcomed him on Signal. Giovanni comes to us from the courts. He's on a diversion program. We want to help him move from point A to point B. And so we want him to do a lot of work. I think it would be prudent for Giovanni to come up here to Camp Rain Man for the weekends, at least to start, not to be hanging around that area. And everyone else is welcome as well. Come up Friday night. Come up for the weekend. Enjoy the beautiful Pahrump-Tucky climate and lifestyle. I'm now starting to call it Flagland because there are huge flag poles here with flags on them, and it's a bit windy, so it's kind of impressive. Also, I understand that yesterday Greg was listening live. Cool, good. It would be even better to acknowledge, put in a little comment, like yo dog, I'm here, whatever. Okay, so that's kind of it for housekeeping, 3 minutes and 40 seconds into it. Today I have a conference call, a video Zoom call that's going to be recorded with Joe Caldera, a financial planner for wealth management person for the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce, which we are members of. And he's going to put together something for our people on financial planning, wealth, how to help you. So that's going to be recorded. He's going to send it to me. I will post it. Part of the education process for those people who are saying, where's the education? It's all around you. Knowledge is good. Skills are better. That might be our new motto. Knowledge is good. Skills are better. Okay. So is there any other things to talk about from yesterday? No. All right. Basic training week for day 3. So day 1, crisis leadership? What do you do in time of crisis? In time of VUCA, Nancy Kane, volatility, uncertainty, complexity. So she had 10 breadcrumbs, and I highly recommend watching that video because these are times of uncertainty. It's becoming more and more uncertain all the time. With these prices, gasoline is just ridiculous. And it seems that the administration has no plan. In fact, it seems like they're going now trying to spin it to say this is actually a good thing. These high prices of gas are actually a good thing. I don't know about that. But that will be good fodder for our discussion on Occam's razor. But first, day 1, crisis leadership. Day 2, pure leadership, stoicism, categorical imperative. Act such that what you do is a law, and then look and say, if everybody did this, would the world be a better place? The next way to figure out whether something is the right thing to do when you're choosing between multiple things is to apply something called Occam's razor, R-A-Z-O-R. And you don't literally shave with it, but you figuratively shave with it by shaving off that which is not true. So the simple thing is, if you have two choices, A or B, just look at it and say, which is the more complex choice? And choose the other. So I will read you the definition of Occam's razor. It's down below in the comments, or abbreviation of that's in the comments. Occam's razor is the problem-solving principle that entities should not be multiplied beyond necessity. It is generally understood in the sense that with competing theories or explanations, the simpler one, for example, a model with fewer parameters, is to be preferred. Okay? So when you have multiple choices, which one is right? I don't know. Just choose the simpler one. That's Occam's razor. It will usually be correct if you don't have any idea. So if we ask the question, is higher gas prices a good thing? No. Yes or no? Let's argue no. No, it's not a good thing. People are spending more money for basic stuff. That means less disposable income. More money needs to be spent on necessities, just surviving, just moving from point A to B, just keeping going. We should be spending less money on those and having more disposable income, more money that we can spend on other things like investments, like insurance, putting away money for college, things that are going to make us money instead of having to run faster on the treadmill just to stay in the same place. No, higher gas prices are not a good thing. Pretty basic, pretty simple, right? The more money I have to spend on gas, the less money I have for anything else. Boom, done. Psh, mic drop. Yes, gas prices are a good thing. Okay, well, why? Well, because with higher gas prices, people are going to want to buy less gas. That means they're going to have to think of other ways to get from here to there. Maybe they'll carpool. Maybe they'll buy an electric car. Maybe they'll decide to work closer to home or not go to work. Okay, so then you have to take each one of those. Okay, maybe they'll find other ways to work. Okay, so what would that be? Change jobs? That's not so easy. That's kind of complicated. Carpool with people? That's complicated, right? Because now we got to merge their schedules and who's driving what day and what route do we take and who do we get dropped off first and blah, 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 blah. And then we got to pick people up. What if I have to go to the doctor during the day? Complicated. Taking the bus, not easy. Everybody who takes the bus wants to not take the bus. Inconvenient. Take Uber. What? That's even more expensive. Now I'm paying a driver to pay for his gas to take. Okay, so it's pretty obvious that when the government says, when President Biden says it's actually a good thing, these high gas prices are actually a good thing. No. Okay. The higher prices of gas is the Putin tax. True or false? Let's argue false. Putin has nothing to do with the oil companies. Putin has nothing to do with the oil that's at distributors. We don't buy oil from Russia. Under President Trump, we are exporting oil. So whatever he's doing in the Ukraine has nothing to do with what Shell Oil or Arco or Chevron, what they charge. Well, the Putin tax is true because when he attacks Ukraine, then the other countries in Europe that do buy fuel from Putin, they aren't going to buy fuel from Putin because they would indirectly be supporting Russia, and they would be financing the profits from the oil, would be financing Russia. And that's if the oil is owned by Russia. I don't know if it's owned by Russia or private companies in Russia. But let's say it's owned by Russia. So the argument would be, well, the European companies that bought oil from Putin, they're not going to buy oil from Putin anymore. They're going to be buying it from other places, and those other places are going to be charging. Now they're going to have more demand. Supply remains the same. False. There is a lot of supply. There has been little demand, but there should be price rise because of higher demand. So the higher demand from the European countries is causing Chevron, Shell, everyone else to pay more money. And the minute Putin fires a rocket or troops go across the border in Ukraine, instantly the price of gas has to go up. Even though it was pumped 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago, it's gone through the process of being distilled, shipped, turned into different products, again, shipped, and ends up in the tank at your gas station down the street. Somehow what Putin is doing in Russia changed the price of that gasoline. That's really complex. So the law of Occam's razor is whatever seems to be the simpler answer is probably correct. So you can do that. Now, there are limits to Occam's razor. Do not apply it to religion. For example, it's called the Wittgenstein limits, and that is spelled with a W, but it's pronounced Wittgenstein. Ludwig Wittgenstein, great 20th century philosopher from Cambridge. So the Wittgenstein limit is things that cannot be pictured, cannot be said, because saying them means nothing. So you can't talk about God because we can't really picture God. Everybody has an image in their brain. There is no photograph of God. There's no petroglyph. There's no, and every culture has its own creation story, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you don't talk about, you don't apply Occam's razor to God. To religion, things like that, things that cannot be pictured. Well, what does that mean? Okay, well, here's an example of things you don't use Occam's razor for. How much does Thursday weigh? Okay, so Wittgenstein would say you can't talk about that because you can't picture a weight associated with the day Thursday. Or if I say, how long is a Chinaman? Chinese people actually are not offended by being called Chinaman. They, especially if they're Chinese, you can ask a real Chinese person, they really do not prefer being called Asian. They are proud of being Chinese. So Chinaman is not a derogatory term. And if you think it is, go talk to somebody who's Chinese especially an adult, not a college-age kid or somebody who's not educated, somebody who's Chinese. They would be like, well, I am a Chinaman. Anyway, how long is a Chinaman? Things like that you cannot apply Occam's razor to, because that's his name. Pause, wait for it. Grenade. Okay. All right. So for the people who got that one, let's see. Seth Godin. We'll quickly do Seth Godin. I repeat, we will quickly do Seth Godin or not. In Search of Hypocrites. Hey, that's a good one. Okay, why would we want to wait for someone is perfect? Why would we want to wait until someone is perfect before we give them a chance to make things better? Each of us is part of a system, cogs in a process that rewards us for certain activities based on various inputs. When the system is broken, some of the most highly leveraged, aware, and insightful people notice. And of course, since they're part of the system, they're affected by it. These are ideal qualifications to speak up and make the system better. One way the status quo stays in charge is by encouraging people to stand by in silence, fearful of being called out for hypocrisy. Okay, I don't get that at all. In Search of Hypocrites. Why would we want to wait until someone is perfect before we give them a chance to make things better? Right. Okay, why would we want to wait till that restaurant has got all the kinks worked out before we give them a chance to make things better? Why not go experience it in the beginning? Each of us is part of a system, cogs in a process that rewards us for certain actions based on various inputs. Cogs in a process that rewards us for certain actions based on various inputs. That's the tricky one. When the system is broken, some of the most highly leveraged, aware, and insightful people notice. And of course, since they're part of the system, they've been affected by it. These are ideal qualifications to speak up and make the system better. One way the status quo stays in charge is by encouraging people to stand by in silence, fearful of being called out for hypocrisy. Okay, that one's a little bit too beyond me. So let's now go to Navy SEAL Maxim. Yesterday was the only easy day. Try to do a little bit more today. The goal should be when your head hits the pillow tonight, you feel satisfied, invigorated, maybe tired, but you got a lot accomplished. I would advise you to use the Zanoli method. Get a whiteboard like I have over there. Get a whiteboard, put your stuff on it, goals, plans, etc., and move forward. So, with that said, I will say cut.